All right, so we want to do 7.3 is number 37, which again may as well be a problem out of 7.4. Okay, so let's do it. Step one.
Don't
Panic, right?
Slam the
Okay.
shut.
Let's try not to panic, even though this one is actually kind of scary looking.
Go for a jog.
Okay, so
I just never did problems.
once I've kind of breathed it out here, I should draw a picture. No.
Should we start a business where these numbers are really important to us so that we become more invested in finding these numbers?
Oh my god.
Let's go with the idea of let's read the problem. So we have given a profit function, okay, where x is the number of units and p of x is the profit in dollars. Okay, so really that means they've got some kind of rule that takes x's, right? They've called it p, and it turns out dollars. You guys see that?
Okay.
So there's their function. The inputs are x's, the outputs are dollars. Really, the x's are some number of units, right? Whatever the heck they're making. All right, so we want to know overhead costs, and they're telling us evaluate p of 0. What's p of 0 mean? What do I kind of...
Like if you mean number of units.
You're not negative, you're not positive.
Yeah, if I plug in 0 for the x's, what's the dollars I get out, right? You guys see that? So this is profit at no units. Please note, we don't expect the profit at no units to be positive, right?
Yeah.
We expect to lose money because as a business they have, like lights and stuff that they have to keep on. If you're not selling anything but you're turning the lights on, that costs money. Right? So what's my p of 0? How do I get that? Yeah, I plug 0 into p for x's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get minus 80 times 0 squared
That's a lot of
plus 5,280 times 0 minus 61,200. And what do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Negative 61,200. Right? So how do I phrase a sentence for that?
Profit at 0 is
Close. Yeah, if you make 0 units, you're $61,200 in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Or they ask for overhead costs, right? So I could say,
overhead cost.
yeah, your overhead costs
pretty expensive.
are,
It's quite unfortunate.
you guys all took the minus sign off of that on your own, right?
$5,200 per unit.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have
Because it's a cost, right, it already includes that minus sign for profit, right? All right, how about this thing? What's break-even values?
That's
No, because it's also what's that square?
that.
What's a break-even value mean?
I don't understand the negative.
How many
To get
units
equal
you
to
need.
zero sell in order to make no money.
Yeah.
Cover
You
your
guys see that?
Mhm.
How many units you have to sell before you're not hemorrhaging cash at least, right? Okay, so how do I determine that? I want to know when the profit's 0, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, so let me take profit function, p of x, and set it equal to 0. You see that?
Sure.
That's me asking, when is my profit 0? Well, I have a rule for calculating profit, right? What's that?
It's always positive.
I want it to be positive. Unfortunately, it's not sometimes. Here, our profit wasn't positive, right? When we were making 0 units, we had a negative profit. How about this rule? That tells me how to take an x and turn it into a profit, right? So if I want to know when that thing's 0, I'm really looking for the,
When does that equal x?
yeah, what x is, do I put in here to get 0 out? You guys see that?
Equals to 0.
So I set that rule equal to 0. Right, so p of x equals 0 is the same thing as minus 80x squared plus 5,280x minus 61,200 equals 0.
Complete the square.
No, let's make that like super small.
Right?
Just, no.
Yeah.
So really, I'm looking for the x-intercepts of the profit function.
Yeah, okay.
You guys all see that?
Yeah.
I know what this profit function looks like a bit. It's a parabola, right?
Yeah.
And is it this guy or this guy?
Right
You
now
guys see
it's
that?
upside down.
It's down? How do you know it's down?
So there's a negative.
Yeah, there's a negative on it. So I'm looking for these two spots, right? You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually dorked this picture up a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
We know that when we plug 0 in, we get a negative value out, right? Okay, so how do I solve this thing?
Divide it holding by 80.
Yeah, you might try that. You might divide everything by 80. You might complete the square, or yeah, cram all this stuff in the quadratic formula.
Let's just make it smaller
Yeah,
numbers.
factor out.
Please get smaller.
I would at least divide everything by 10, right?
Yeah.
You guys see that? I can at least whack a 0 off of everything here. So we can at least move to minus 8x squared plus 528x minus 6,120 equals 0. And then maybe we could also, can we actually divide by 8? Are all of these divisible by 8?
Yeah.
Should we try it? What do we get?
Look at the last numbers.
Yep.
So this was divide by 10. We might try divide by 2 next, and then divide by 2 again, and then divide by 2 again. Or we could just,
Yeah, 66 for the first one.
765.
so divide by 8. What was the last one?
Minus 765.
Okay, so here I am. Do you want to deal with the negative sign in there?
We could, but I don't know.
You can or not. It doesn't matter.
So if you take it out in there.
How do you take the negative sign out? How do I get rid of this? Multiply the whole thing by -1. What's that going to do?
Change all the signs.
Yeah, it's going to flip all the signs, right?
Couldn't you have done that before and take away a -8?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you could have divided by -8 too.
Okay.
Or -10. Or
Could you have
whatever.
also factored an 8 out and then used the sum of function?
Yep. Yeah, that. So if you factor an 8 or an 80 or a -80 or whatever out, you'll get either -80 is 0 or this other stuff is 0, right? -80 is not 0, so does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so I got x squared minus 66x plus 765 is 0. All right, now what?
Yeah.
You could complete the square, right? 66 is divisible by 2, so this would be okay. You could try to factor. You know any factors of 765? 5 and something, right? Okay, that's not convenient. So what are you going to do with this thing in the end?
153.
Yeah, cram it in the quadratic formula. Really don't mess about with these. When the numbers are big, just cram it in the quadratic formula. I don't want to have to square 33, right? All right, so cram this in the quadratic formula. You get x is
Negative parentheses.
negative parentheses plus or minus. I like this thing. Sorry, this is a good idea.
Thank you.
Continue across the wall to the next.
The cloth.
They really don't appreciate it. Okay, so I got here. What do I put in for all the blanks? Okay, negative 66 in the first two.
One.
Oops, that was 66. 1 here, 1 there, and
765 somehow.
765.
Oh.
Wow.
Why did that give you a negative?
I don't know. Is that a good question? Yeah. You guys see that? See her concern? She's concerned about whether the discriminant, right, this thing in the middle, under the square root, is that negative? If it's negative, there aren't any answers for this. Is that bad for your profit function? That means there's no possibility that you could ever break even with the units you're selling.
But
What
66
kind
times
of
Right?
business are you trying to run?
This is selling hoverboards whose batteries explode, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to break even on that, ever. It's not going to work.
The lawsuits.
66 squared is pretty big though, so we
It's
might have a bigger
4,000.
one.
Yeah, so my guess is that 66 squared is probably bigger than this,
Yeah.
but that's a guess.
4356.
Okay, so we got x is 66 plus or minus something over 2. What goes in the square root?
4,356.
What?
4,356 minus 3,060. And then if you subtract it, that equals 1,296, which is 36 is the square root of that.
Okay, so after a little bit of massaging, you got 66 plus or minus 36
All
over
over
2.
2, yes.
Cool?
That's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, these are reasonable numbers now. Okay, good.
Plus or minus.
So x is
33.
That's not.
66 divided by 2.
Oh.
okay. So this is 33 plus or minus 18.
Ooh.
Okay, see that? How'd story get to 33 plus or minus 18? Yeah, you divided both things by 2, right?
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that, and in fact, you have to divide both things by 2.
Well, yeah.
So I got 33 plus or minus 18 gives me 51, or x is 15. You guys cool with this?
Yep.
So these are my two break-even values, right? So how do I phrase that? I really have next to no space, so a short sentence would be good.
This is my break even.
Yeah, the break-even values are 15 and 51.
Yeah.
Having to meet.
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
5 divided
Oops, sorry, I said verb, right? Break-even values are subject verb at the done.
You say like a pirate, breaking values.
by 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean in terms of a business? Why are there two break-even values?
Because apparently after 51 units, you're wasting more money building the units than you are getting it for selling.
Yeah. You guys see that? After 51, you've oversaturated the market.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Oh, that makes
You guys
sense.
see
I'm
that?
trying to figure
So
out
you're
how-
making things that nobody wants to buy because everybody who wants one already has one. You see that? What's 15?
That's where you break even.
Yeah, 15 is the first time you can actually sell enough units to cover your costs, right?
So what do you do? Shut your doors at
So where's the
50
top?
units?
It's a,
You want to aim
51
between.
units.
what is it called?
Yeah, you want to aim between 15
Yeah.
and 51, right?
Okay, yeah.
Pretend
There's a
you
cool
got
thing about
some-
quadratics, which is that we know where the top is. It's halfway between. See that? Yeah, because it's symmetrical, right? It's shifted around and stuff and flipped over, but it's still symmetrical.
Yeah.
So it's halfway in between 15 and 51 is, oh, come on, guys, it's right here. See it?
It's the.
You already found the middle,
Oh, yeah. Look at
right? You went
that.
the same distance up and down to find these two numbers. You guys want to know the statement for that?
Yep.
The maximum or minimum of a parabola is always at negative b over 2a.
Oh.
That's this part of the quadratic formula. You see that? There's your 33.
Neat.
So when we're trying to find out the maximum whatever and it's quadratic, oh, it's right in the middle, negative b over 2a. That even works when this thing is negative. Still true. Cool? Awesome.